Welcome back to the deep dive. We sift through all that noise out there, pull out what really matters, and bring it straight to you. Today, we're jumping into a really, fascinating and sometimes kind of frustrating area, personal finance. Specifically, credit repair.
Oh.
But here's the twist we're looking at: how artificial intelligence is getting involved. We're focusing on one service in particular. It's called Credit Captain. Now, to figure this out, we've really dug into a detailed review. It's from that YouTube channel, X Guide. You probably know them. The review is called Credit Captain Review 2025, Worth Your Money or Risky Bet. So yeah, our mission today, let's unpack what this AI thing actually does. How well does it work according to the review? And maybe most importantly, who is this really for? Is it legit or just tech hype? Okay, let's unpack this. I mean, the whole idea of AI tackling something as complex and frankly tedious as credit repair, it sounds amazing. Almost futuristic, right? Like a little financial superhero for your credit score. We've
Yeah.
all looked at a credit report and just felt lost. So imagining an algorithm handling the paperwork, the disputes, the monitoring, wow, feels like a game changer. But it sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? What's the catch? Because usually convenience like that, especially in finance, it costs a lot.
Absolutely. That's exactly the balancing act we need to look at with Credit Captain. I
Yeah.
mean, the appeal of just automating things in finance, it's huge,
Mm.
especially for tasks that need, super close attention and just take so much time. Think about it going line by line through a report, finding mistakes, writing letters, tracking everything. It's a lot for anyone. So the promise of AI doing that heavy lifting, it's definitely offering revolutionary convenience. But like you said, there's rarely a free lunch in finance. We'll definitely get into the cost and other factors. But first, maybe let's look at why it's getting such high marks.
Yeah, good point. Because that X Guide review, it starts with some pretty eye-popping numbers. Credit Captain has this crazy high rating, 4.98 out of 5. And that's from over 55,000 users. That's a massive thumbs up. But does the review give any, context for that? What is it about this service that makes so many people happy? Are there, any catches behind that score?
Well, that number, the 4.98, it's not just a statistic. It really signals it's hitting a nerve, making a real impact. If you look at the bigger picture, it kind of shows this growing hunger for easier, more efficient ways to handle personal finance stuff, especially the parts that have always felt complicated or maybe intimidating or just frankly kind of dull. People clearly want to hand these tasks off. Imagine someone like Maria, right? Working 2 jobs, barely time to sleep, let alone sift through a dense credit report. This service solves a big problem for her. That problem is the sheer mental load, the time sink of old school credit repair. So, yeah, the huge amount of positive feedback. It suggests Credit Captain is really meeting a need. It's making the whole process feel less overwhelming for a lot of folks.
Okay, so the AI is the big draw. But how exactly does it work? What did X Guide point to as the real game-changing features, especially for finding and fighting those errors?
All right, this is where the AI really steps up. Think about what used to take hours, like actual hours of detective work, careful letter writing. Now it's condensed. The AI spots that tiny error, that needle in the haystack, almost instantly, and then it handles the dispute. The X Guide review specifically mentions this. The AI scans your report automatically, flags errors, and then actively disputes them for you. That's not just about being fast. It changes who can actually tackle complex credit problems. It makes it more accessible. It's using AI for what it's good at, spotting patterns, processing data, getting tasks done efficiently. Actually, the review shared a story, I think, about a user claimed they spent something like 40 hours trying to fix errors manually before switching to Credit Captain.
40 hours, wow.
Yeah, that kind of time saving. That's where that superhero idea kind of lands. It turns this huge, confusing job into something more automated, hands off.
That's incredible. Saving 40 hours of my life not staring at credit reports. Okay, you've got my attention. But credit isn't static, right? It changes all the time. Does Credit Captain help people keep up with that constant flux?
Oh, definitely. And that's another really crucial part of the service. It goes beyond just the initial fix-it job. X-Guide highlights this too. Credit Captain gives you real-time monitoring. You get immediate alerts if anything changes on your report. Because, credit scores are so dynamic. Payments, new accounts, inquiries, even fraud. It all affects it constantly. If you're not watching closely, you might not see a new negative mark or a big score drop until the damage is done. So this feature is like an early warning system. Think of it like having a tiny, very alert guard dog for your credit score, always barking if something looks off.
Huh, I like that, a credit card dog.
Exactly. It helps users be proactive,
Yeah.
instead of just reacting after the fact. catching an unauthorized inquiry or a late payment right when it happens.
Okay, no more waking up worried about what the credit bureaus did while you slept. That sounds like it brings a lot of peace of mind. But does it do more than just flag errors and watch things? Does it actually give you advice on how to improve your credit, not just fix what's broken?
Yes, it does. And this is where it moves from just repair to something more like financial empowerment, maybe. The service gives you this personalized dashboard. It's not just a static report card. It actually gives you actionable tips tailored specifically to you to boost your score. If you think about it, that's where AI can be really powerful, giving you personalized insights that maybe typically you'd only get from a human advisor. But here, it's scalable, always available. The AI looks at your profile and says, okay, maybe focus on credit utilization, or now might be a good time to apply for credit, or here's a strategy for paying down debt. So it encourages, better long-term financial habits, gives you actual steps to build a stronger credit foundation.
Right, so it's not just patching the tire, it's teaching you to drive better, avoid the potholes later. That sounds pretty comprehensive. And the X-Guide review also mentioned users like the interface and the customer service. That's always a plus with tech stuff. And results, usually 30 to 90 days, which the review says is pretty standard for credit repair anyway. So it works, it's efficient within normal timelines. But, like we kind of hinted at before, it all sounds great, right? There's always a but in personal finance, isn't there?
There usually is, yes. And the but here definitely circles back to the practical side, the investment required. Because while the features sound great, users are happy, timelines are standard. The cost. That's a major factor. It kind of shifts this from being perfect for everyone to being right for a very specific group.
Exactly. So what does this all boil down to for you, the person trying to manage your credit? We've heard about Credit Captain's impressive user ratings, the powerful AI scanning errors, monitoring things, giving advice, and results coming in a typical time frame. But yeah, the devil's in the details. And here, the big detail, the big caveat is definitely the price. The plans run between, get this, $149 and $299 per month. That's steep. Now, okay, to be fair, that price does include professional help with disputes and dedicated support, things most people wouldn't get doing it themselves. So you are paying for a premium, hands-off kind of service. It's the AI plus that human expert layer, but still, it's a significant budget item. You really need to factor that in. Oh, and another small thing the review mentioned, it's web only. No mobile app right now. Might be a slight hassle if you like doing everything on your phone, but probably not a deal breaker for most.
And all this leads right back to that main takeaway from the S-Guide review. Credit Captain is, quote, best suited for those with complicated credit issues who value convenience over saving. And if we unpack why that group benefits most, well, think about someone, let's call him John. Maybe he's got multiple collection accounts, a court judgment, maybe even some identity theft issues on his report. For someone like John trying to fix all that manually, it's overwhelming, it takes ages, it's emotionally draining. So for him, the convenience value having AI and professionals handle all those tricky details, write the perfect letters, chase things up relentlessly, the convenience might actually be worth the high monthly cost. That specialized support for complex disputes, it can be genuinely invaluable in those really tangled situations. So the investment makes sense for people who look at their credit report and just feel stuck, paralyzed. Or people who honestly just don't have the dozens of hours needed to do it right themselves. They prioritize time and sanity over the dollar cost. So if we zoom out a bit, look at the bigger picture. We live in this increasingly automated world, right?
How do we really weigh the cost of this kind of specialized AI-powered convenience against, well, the savings and the effort of just doing it yourself, especially for something as crucial as our financial health? Does paying for speed and professional help with complex stuff really pay off in the long run for your specific situation? Or maybe is the process of learning and doing it manually, while harder, a better investment in your own financial know-how, understanding how the system actually works? It brings up a really interesting question, I think. How much are we willing to pay to essentially outsource these vital life skills? And what, if anything, do we potentially lose when we do that?
Yep. That is a powerful question, definitely something to think about, and probably something we'll face more and more as AI blends into everything. Ultimately, it really comes down to you, your situation, your finances, what you value more, saving time, saving money, or maybe finding a balance. Hopefully, this deep dive gave you some good food for thought, some insights to help you decide if something like Credit Captain fits your needs for managing credit. Until next time, keep digging for those nuggets of knowledge.